Hi, I wanted to do a short video on how to write cut lines. I'm going to just start off by sharing my screen here. And I'm just going to, if I can do that, I'm going to just go here, first of all, and just sort of give you a couple of examples of cut lines that appear in the media. So if we go somewhere like AP News, the Illinois Wire, and we come along here, one thing you can do is you can kind of look and you can just see, how they write cut lines in these. And what you'll always notice is you'll notice that the cut line, it appears here on the bottom of the photo when I scroll over it. There'll always be two sentences in length. The first sentence will always be describing what happens in the photo. It'll always be present tense, and it will always tell you what happened, where it happened, and when it happened, and name or identify anybody in the photo. So in this case, it says, in this screen grab from video, Kyle Rittenhouse appears during his initial court appearance in Kenosha, Wisconsin on Monday, November 2nd, 2020. Time, place, and identified the people and describes what's happening in the photo very clearly. Always what's in the first sentence, it's always in the present tense too. The second sentence will always then try to connect you with a story. The idea is photos, as you're looking at a paper, will pull you in, or when you're looking at a photo on a story, it will pull you into the rest of the story. So your second paragraph, or your second sentence, sorry, not paragraph, should always be describing and giving something. So if you're going to an event and you take 5 pictures of the event, you want those all to connect with the story, hopefully not that same sentence over and over. It's kind of a lazy photographer's thing to do, to use that same sentence. But ideally, you would find something new that would be kind of like the news angle, why this photo connects with the story. And that's a way to draw people in. So in this case, as court commissioner, Lauren Keating has set cash bail for Rittenhouse, accused of killing 2 people in August during protest in Wisconsin at $2 million. It's a little clumsy, maybe a little longer than I'd like, but it at least gets you a little more information. And you then go, oh, that's why we're showing a picture of this kid. That's why we have a picture. We know what it is. We know why there's a story. We can come back here. Here's a picture of the Walgreens sign. Same thing. This June 25th, 2019 file photo. So it's not fresh. It's telling you that. Shows the sign outside the Walgreens in Pittsburgh. Okay, tells you the place, tells you what the photo is, etc. Then the second sentence connects to the story. Drugstore chain Walgreens Boots Alliance has finished a deal to combine pharmaceutical wholesale business in Germany with McKesson Corp. Walgreens said Monday, November 2nd, that will control 70% of the venture, while McKesson has a 30% interest. So once again, a long sentence, but it's basically doing that. Now, why do they do that? Here's another photo. We could just do this over and over again. Sentence, Illinois quarterback, number 7 is upended by Purdue cornerback Simeon Smiley during the first half of NCAA on Saturday, October 31st, 2020. This one does not have a second sentence. That's kind of rare not to have it. When I have you guys write them, I want you to write both, but that's just kind of a little bit of the style. Now, why do we do this? Well, let me find here, if we go to the State Journal Register and we go to their e-edition, you'll find the same thing online. But what you'll find is that if you go here and you're flipping through like a paper as well as websites and you're trying to see it, you see a picture and you're like, well, what's this a picture of? So you click to see the picture and it says, Janina Brandon brings a tray of food to customers at Sweet Basil Cafe in Springfield on the restaurant's first day of operations, Sunday. So the first sentence, it says who, says when, says where, identifies the people, that kind of thing. In this case, they didn't provide you with a second sentence, but why is this story being used? Why did they go out and take a picture of somebody on the opening day? You wouldn't cover an opening day of every restaurant. It's the fact that this restaurant had the poor wherewithal to make their first day, the day which the state actually banned going to eat in the restaurant on the day it opened. So in this case, that probably would have made a good sentence, and it would have then said, oh, okay, that connects with the story and would then draw you into it. So the first sentence is always a sentence that describes the photo. It's always in the present tense. The reason we write in the present tense is because the photo is actually showing something presently happening. Whereas when you're quoting people, it's things that they had said that you're now quoting. And so it's just kind of a little bit, you're looking at a photo, the photo is showing the action in place. And that's why we write in the present tense. And then we always write a second sentence that connects it with the story at large. So in here, Will Curry of Scout Troop 97 decided to use his Eagle Scout service project as a way to honor his former mayor, Frank Edwards, and his wife, Coroner Cinda Edwards, who died earlier this year in a plane crash. Okay, that one's a little bit different because it's just a portrait of a kid sitting on a bench. And so this one's going to follow a little bit different style. It didn't give the time or the place, but it's also a portrait, so maybe they didn't think that was important. Curry developed a plan for a memorial bench and fire hydrant in honor of Frank Edwards. Okay, so here's a case where the second sentence is, re-identifying Frank. Well, I guess you have his wife, so you'd have to give the last name. They've also put the apostrophe before the S, which is not actually the way you would do that because his name's Edwards. Time at the Springfield fire chief and worked with multiple groups along with help family and friends, installed the concrete pad, bench, and fire hydrant that overlooked Lake Springfield at the Lindsay boat launch. So there we go. So, it now describes the place, and probably the reason is it kind of wanted to build some suspense, but it followed that same basic pattern. The reason is you flip through the paper, if we kind of scan out on this, so we're seeing the whole page. As you flip through, usually the first thing people look at is they see a photo. And when they see that photo, they go, what's this about? Sometimes they don't even see the headline, virus spike creates concerns at polling place. And so they see this photo, they glance at it, and they want to know what the photo is about. And that second paragraph, that second sentence, not paragraph, will give you a connection of this story with what's going on. In some cases, for space, they'll condense it down to one sentence. It's not always the case that they do it, but the ideal way to do it is you always write two sentences. First sentence, present tense, identifies people, gives what's happening, where, when. Second sentence, present tense as well, and it's short and it gives further detail. So that's basically the gist of how to do it. As far as your work, if you go into Canvas and you come to the class here, you come down here and there will be a Cutline writing assignment that's due next week along with your next paper. It will say, give photo credit, which means, you would identify who took the picture. You would use present tense, you would identify the people, you would identify the location, time, write two sentences. First sentence identifies people, place, time. Second sentence, use active voice and keep it short but interesting. So some of those paragraphs I showed you as examples were a little long, but this case, I wanted you to do that. So when you do that, you're gonna come in here and there's a photo. I give you the credit, I give you who's in the photo, I give you where, I tell you if we don't know, then you can make up a date or just leave the date off if we don't know. And then what happens is there's a story there, and that's going to allow you to read the story and connect it. So these are all stories that appear in the lamp. This is Peter and Bala Bala teaching a class. This is Carrie Grafton with her service dog. We did a story about that. Here's a story about two former students, Theo Kinnan and his wife, about them getting married. And here's a story about Ron Riggle over here on the right, the athletic director, a little story about him and what he does. This is one about the a student art show, or not, it wasn't a student art show, an art show that came to Lincoln Land to raise money for refugees. And that's a photo of that. And I don't think it identified the students. So that's that. So you read the story, you're going to write one that summarizes what you see, time, date, place, as much as you can. And then you're going to write a second sentence that connects with the story, whatever that be, whatever you think would draw people in. Keep it short. And that's kind of the challenge of this, is you don't have to give every detail. You give enough to make it interesting. And that's the way you write Cutlines. All right, if you have any questions, send me a message. I'll look forward to seeing your work.